Israel is moving closer to a fifth election in almost 4 years after lawmakers gave an initial nod to dissolve parliament. The Knesset voted unanimously to dissolve in a preliminary reading. The dissolution bill is expected to be finalized next week. Upon passing the reading, the bill must still get through a parliamentary committee. It then has to pass with an absolute majority in the Knesset. Once the bill is passed, the Knesset will dissolve itself. Yair Lapid will take over as the country's interim prime minister. Elections will be held in October after the Jewish high holidays. Lapid will also be the one to greet US President Joe Biden when he visits Israel next month. Yair Lapid will also continue acting as the country's foreign minister. As for Bennett, he will hold the Iran file in the interim government. Reports suggest that the coalition's plan is to have an election on their own terms. They did not want to be forced out by Benjamin Netanyahu. But the new vote could set stage for Bibi's return to power. Netanyahu's camp is already coaching members of the Knesset. The former prime minister has two options ahead of him. He can gather enough members and form an alternative government. This could be a win-win situation for all. Israel would not have to go through another election, and Benjamin Netanyahu will be back as Israel's prime minister. But if Netanyahu does not have the numbers, Israel will go to polls again. Even there, Likud could emerge as the biggest party. Opinion polls predict that Netanyahu's Likud could receive 36 seats, while Lapid's Yesh Atid could get 20 seats. Even then, the two sides would still have to cobble up a coalition. So even with elections, a clear majority for either side is highly unlikely. And for more on this, we are being joined by our correspondent Jody Cohen from Ra'anana. Jody Cohen, good to see you. What do these elections mean for Israel?
So I always say there is never a dull day in Israeli politics and that things really aren't predictable. So we knew today that there was going to be a vote on the coalition's bill to dissolve the Knesset, that's Israel's parliament. And the initial reading took place in the plenum, and that has now passed and will go to the Knesset House Committee. But unpredictably, the opposition submitted their own 9 versions of the legislation, and they all also passed and will also now move to the House Committee. Now, this is being seen as a show of strength on the part of the opposition. It's also being seen as a possible delaying tactic to try to slow down the proceedings. Now, that would give former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu more time to try to pull together this alternative government based on the existing seats, and would mean that there wouldn't be a need to go to elections. Now, after the committee hearings, the bills will go to the first reading and the second reading in the Knesset plenum. Then they'll go back to the committee. Then there'll be a third and fourth reading simultaneously in the plenum before they will enter law. And they are expected to. The process is being expedited. But now we're not expecting to see until Monday at the earliest, which is the next plenum session, that the proceedings will go forward and will pass. Now, Bibi currently has a block of 55 seats. He needs 61. It could be, there's a slim chance that there is still a chance, but it is slim, of him pulling together, getting some other random MKs. We've heard that Ayelet Shaked, interestingly, has been busy on the phones, even when she was in Morocco yesterday, busy on the phones trying to get people to join in with an alternate government under former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And it remains to be seen if he will be Prime Minister again, if he'll be able to form that alternate government, or if we're heading to elections.
We'll have to end it there. Live from Ra'anana, our correspondent Jody Cohen. Thank you. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.